All righty. Hello there, YouTube. We should be live now. And it looks like we are fantastic. That's what I always like to see. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Open Mic America's Open Mic Night. We're very excited to see you are from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. We have songwriters who are going to sing for you and me. And each one of our singer-songwriters is part of the beating heart of American music, that tapestry of story and song that has been weaving us together for generations. Of course, in the before times, if you wanted to see a collection of singer-songwriters like this perform, we would have to pick ourselves up and travel around the country, seeking out the venues wherever we go, or wait for them to come visit us. And that is, of course, an adventure that many of us would still enjoy to take today. But how wonderful is it that right now we have technology that allows us to connect with these performers and enjoy their music right here in our own living rooms. It's an opportunity to see the best of the best and all at the same time. So we want all of you out there in YouTube land to know that we have performers here that all enjoy spending time with each other. We've been chatting before we actually went live on YouTube, and it only makes the evening even more special. We have our full lineup listed on the website at openmicamerica.com. It should be in the description of the YouTube live, and it's also in Pete's fancy Zoom square by magic. Amazing. It changes every show, and it's always there. So if you want to know who's up next, check one of those places. Each performer is going to have 1 to 2 songs to perform, so we should be playing for a couple of hours, give or take. We do like to spend some time in between each performer, getting to know them, getting to know our songwriters, and we hope that you'll enjoy that too. So before we get into the music, we're going to do a couple of team introductions. My name's Laura Bordowitz. I'm going to be the MC tonight. We also have Pete Sommer, who's going to wave in his Zoom square. He's going to interview our guests. Right beforehand, we had TK Tran, who's our sound consultant. He operates the switchboards, our amazing technical producer. And then behind the scenes at home in Portland, grinning and at his creation is Capo Dave Williams. Hey, Dave. Now I'm going to introduce all the performers that will be going tonight. They're going to wave from their Zoom square so you can identify who they are. We've got coming up first will be Sherman Whipple from Hull, Massachusetts. Then we'll get John Alton from Santa Cruz, California. Lorin Guy from San Jose, California. Dan Dover from Lake Chippewa, Mexico. Mick Schafer from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Mike Tatarakis from San Jose, California. Guy Furlow from Portland, Oregon. Mike Simpson from Saratoga, California. Tim J. Myers from Santa Clara, California. And our special guest, John Lee from Ocean Park, Washington. All right. So without further ado, I think it's time to go ahead and get started. So Sherman Whipple, it's all you. Show us what you got.
Let's start out with a song that's kind of autobiographical. It's one I wrote called Balladeer. Stay for a moment and hear my song. Better days, long time gone. I'm a storytelling guitar man who sees not the right for the wrong. My vision's been clouded by battles never won. Victory's too slow to come. Have we all forgotten how we marched to the cry, we shall overcome? And do you remember the songs that I sang? Words of peace, words of love. I'm yesterday's protest balladeer, today's has been, never was. In 68, I heard the call, then learned the chords and words. Then I sat on my ass, I sang high up on grass. Applause was all that I heard. But the times, they have changed, as the poet said. Issues and leaders are dead. They died not of bullets, but of boredom, he said. Why fight when you're being well fed? And do you remember the songs that I sang? Words of peace, words of love. I'm yesterday's protest balladeer. Today's has been, never was. And do you remember the words were so good? They thrilled your heart, filled your mind. And I even recorded a song of my own, but they said it's ahead of its time. And I once sang for thousands, both dollars and souls, but that was a lifetime ago. Now I play in a bar and I sleep in my car. My God, where did it go? And do you remember the songs that I sang? Words of peace, words of love. I'm yesterday's protest balladeer. Today's has been, never was. But you know, war and injustice, they'll be back someday, or maybe they've always been here. But I'll be ready with my songs and guitar. Maybe I'll make it this year. And do you remember the songs that I sang? Words of peace, words of love. I'm yesterday's protest balladeer. Today's has been, never was. Yesterday's protest balladeer. Today's has been, never was. Thank you. All right, next one here is one called White Hats, Black Hats. And I had some help writing this. And I have to get rid of the capo. Mama, read this letter. It's from your loving son. Remember when I played cowboys, how the good guys always won. With a wooden 6-gun in my hand, a white hat on my head. And every night before my prayers, I shoot them bad guys dead. A white hat, a black hat, life was once that way. But now I'm all grown up, the colors mixed to gray. Then the army called me to serve my country's need. And they said by killing commies, a people could be free. With an M1 carbine in my hand, green steel on my head. And every night before my prayers, I shoot them bad guys dead. A white hat, a black hat, life was once that way. But now I'm all growed up, the colors mixed gray. Came back home a hero, a bronze star on my chest. The police department hired me. I worked hard, I did my best. With a real 6-gun in my hand, a blue hat on my head. And every night before my prayers, I shoot them bad guys dead. But now I see my children playing cowboys in the sun. I remember those simple values. Lord, I wish that I were one, with a wooden 6-gun in my hand, a white hat on my head. And every night before my prayers, I shoot them bad guys dead. A white hat, a black hat, life was once that way. But now I'm all growed up, the colors mixed to gray.
Beautiful, beautiful songs.
Thank you.
Very poignant, really makes me feel. So good.
Really nice, Sherman. Thank you for starting us off tonight. What a great way to start. It's great back there in Hull, Massachusetts. Huh?
Out in the center of Boston Harbor.
In Boston Harbor. Have you lived there all your life?
No, I was actually born in Nashville.
Oh, okay.
And raised for a lot of places. Lived in California, down in Claremont for a while, and then moved to New York, Long Island, and moved back to Massachusetts, which is where my father's family was from, about 40 years ago.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, most people nowadays are going to Nashville, not leaving Nashville. So it sounds like you did kind of a little bit reverse. So what first got you into music? Did you start in Nashville or what? How did you start?
No, I was influenced in Nashville growing up, but it was really in the 6th grade, a Quaker school that I went to in Lahaska, Pennsylvania. And we did a lot of singing, and the headmaster and his son both played guitar, and so I was inspired by that, and that was the 6th grade, and I got a guitar and started messing around with it, and haven't put it down since.
Absolutely, that's great. Just out of curiosity, what's the first kind of group that you picked up on to start playing, or what type of music?
It was mostly folk and protest music.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right, really from the beginning, I played in a rock and roll band a bit because I could sing, but and do the tambourine, but they wouldn't let me touch an instrument.
Now, the reason I asked is because when I was in 6th grade, I started out playing the Kingston Trio.
I did a lot of Kingston Trio songs at that time.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, good. Well, thanks so much, Sherman, for starting us off.
It was very enjoyable.
Thanks.
Can't wait to hear the rest of these guys.
Laura?
Awesome. Thank you again, Sherman. All right. Well, we're going to keep on moving because we've got more performers. And next up, we've got John Alton from Santa Cruz, California. Take it away.
Right, just taking care of a Zoom button. Good evening, everybody. So I'm going to play a couple of songs, and the first one is called You Were On My Mind. And one of the things I always think about with this song is when it first started to come together. I got up one Saturday morning, I was brewing coffee and strumming the guitar a little bit while I was waiting for the coffee to brew, and the first couple of bars just came out. And my wife shouted through from the other room, she says, "Don't change a thing, just leave it, it's perfect as it is." So with that sort of encouragement, I carried on and wrote this song. So it's called You Were On My Mind. I was thinking about you, you were on my mind, can't stop thinking about you all of the time. Ooh, I really want you, babe. Ooh, I need to feel you by my side again. I was thinking about you, yeah. You were on my mind. And I was thinking about the time when we first met, when north and south and east and west came together in one breath. It circled and filled me with glorious ecstasy. Now I know what those prophets of pipe say they see. Now it's thinking about you. You were on my mind. Can't stop thinking about you all of the time. Ooh, for the lonely one. Ooh, for the lonely one to cry inside. I was thinking about you, yeah. You were on my mind. And sometimes love is too hot to hold. We turn around and look for something a little more cold. We feel that we are not worthy to receive. The trick of the heart is played again and again with deceit. And I was thinking about you. You were on my mind. Can't stop thinking about you all of the time. I was thinking about you. You were on my mind. Can't stop thinking about you all of the time. Ooh, I really need you, babe. Ooh, I need to feel you in my arms again. I was thinking about you, yeah. You were on my mind. We push away what we need so much. Why am I so afraid of its touch? Love is precious. and love is pure. Love is the power that we're all looking for. Now I was thinking about you. You were on my mind. Can't stop thinking about you all of the time. Yes, I was thinking about you. You were on my mind. Can't stop thinking about you all of the time. Thank you. So this next song, sometimes I've noticed it's been great watching Open Mic America on the previous episodes, and people talk about categorizing their songs. So, you know, you can have breakup songs, and I guess what I did maybe was just a makeup song. And I think of this song as more of poetic, philosophical poetic. So it's called River of Life. And I kind of like this one, so we'll see how it goes. Hold on, my capo doesn't sound right. Okay. Are you switched on? Are you switched on? You switched on, yeah, yeah, yeah. The day is dawning, it soon will be light. Are your senses sharp and are they sharp as a knife? Are you ready for takeoff and are you set for the fight? Do you wanna be famous? Do you wanna be famous? Do you wanna be famous? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Are you in for just 15 or can you go the whole way? Paparazzi in your face, do you have something to say? If you've got a dream to sell, then someone will pay to take your stand or get out of the way. Rolling down the river of life. Rolling down the river of life. Are you getting high? Are you getting high? Are you getting high? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nothing above you but the open sky. Free as a bird that's flying up on high. You don't need to reason and you don't need to ask why. Are you turned on? Are you turned on? Are you turned on? Down your body and let it be mine. Your body's a temple that I worship with mine. Your beauty humbles me, your beauty is divine. Yes, it's divine. yeah, yeah. Some say there is a truth, some say that it's a lie. Some say for a good man they would be prepared to die. Is that what Jesus did? But faith will say he's alive. Yes, he's alive. Rolling down the river of life. Rolling down the river of life. Rolling down the river of life. Thank you.
Very nice, John.
That's so wonderful. Oh, those songs, your words give me a lot to think about. I love the depth that's there.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Very
That's what I'm going for.
Very, very nice, John. Wonderful songs. So, I take it you haven't been living in Santa Cruz all your life.
No.
I'm just guessing.
Yes, well spotted, Pete. We've been here in Santa Cruz about 3.5 years, but then we were up in the Bay Area for a good 20 years before that. But originally, yeah, I'm from the UK.
Yeah, it's a great musical community in the Bay Area, but Santa Cruz in particular, right? Have you gotten into that much?
You know, be honest with you, I haven't that much. I've been to a couple of venues, but I really like the atmosphere and the vibe up in the Bay Area.
Mm-hmm.
So when I can, I go up there.
Okay, great. So, what's your creative process like?
Good question. As people say when they talk about this, there really is no formula. Sometimes the words come first, sometimes the music. But for me, it's about a kernel. If I get a kernel of something, whether it's a feeling, a thought, a phrase, that is genuine. If there's something about a thought or a feeling that is genuine, I think, oh, there's a song there, then I can develop that. You know, you might get the core, you know, in a few minutes, and then it might take a few days for me to flesh that out. And, you know, you try different paths, and sometimes they're a dead end, and you have to pull back and say, no, that doesn't work. Because I honestly feel like, for me, a song, it has its life, and you've got to find out what's right for that song. I mean, that's my process that I've kind of learned to be comfortable with. And I really enjoy the process.
Right.
Really do.
Great. So do you generally, you know, I'm sure it depends, but do you start off with a lyric or a melody?
It goes either way.
Yeah. Okay.
It totally goes either way. There is no set pattern.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. Well, thank you so much for joining in tonight, and look forward to seeing you somewhere down the road.
Thank you, Pete.
And in the real world.
One day.
One day. All right. Thanks so much, John.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, John. One more time for John Alton. Wonderful. All right. We've got the moves out from clapping, so now we're ready to listen to Lorin Guy from San Jose, California. You're on.
Hello, world. All right, so the first song is called "In Love with This Man," and I wrote this song for my wife, and also for anyone and everyone else who has ever been touched by love at first sight. You know he's loved her from the day their eyes first met, and taken a chance on love, heart open, no regret. Together the years went by, You'd never know it from the look in their eyes. It's in love they always will stay. They love to be together each and every day. He tells her every morning of his love, and how she's his gift from above. In his eyes, she'll never age another day. As sweet, innocent, she always will stay. Of all the places and things they've done, they say the greatest was the birth of their son. Love that'll last their entire life. He says the best thing in his world is his wife. She smiles and touches his hand, says she's lucky to be in love with this man. No, they've been in love since the day their eyes first met. And the next one is slightly different. It's you know, I try to write songs in like every single genre I can think of, and or is available, to see where I kind of fit. And so this song is called "Divine and Free." Well, I woke on a Trine morning, sky was dark and gray. Looked out my window, and all I saw was the rain. I went to Land's End, and I stood in the sea. Felt the waves crashing at my feet, but I still felt like me. And I was searching for a feeling that I once had in a dream. I was floating atop the world that night. I was divine and free. Was divine and free. Journey to the mountain, I stood high upon the knoll. Turned my eyes to the heavens and cried, "Is it my name you know?" The answer came down, and it was clear as a bell. "You better show some reverence, boy, confess all you can tell." Well, I was searching for a feeling that I once had in a dream, and I was floating atop the world that night. I was divine and free. Was divine and free. darkness on the edge was so serene. A voice called from the stillness, come join your family. I gave pause. The voice said to me, it's your choice. Step over, my son, it'll set you free. And I've been searching for a feeling that I once had in a dream. And I was floating atop the world that night. I was divine and free. Was divine and free. Atop the world tonight, I am divine and free. I am divine and free.
Oh, that song gave me chills. I feel like I've had dreams like that too.
All right, great songs, Lorin. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
What's your main inspiration to be a songwriter and to write songs?
Well, that's hard to say because things that just come to me that, just like he was saying, that sometimes it's a little nugget or something like that. I thought I had something to express or something to say, but really I just kind of do it because sometimes in playing, something will just happen where the hand works by itself and the words come and you need to put it down. So big inspiration, of course, is my wife, my muse and my greatest critic. But yeah, thank you.
Well, that's good. So what, I guess ultimately, what is your musical goal or writing goal?
When I started, and this was way back, okay, in the 60s, the Beatles pretty much influenced everybody, and every block had a band. And I thought that's where I wanted to be in a band, but that really didn't work out for me after a few years. I just lost that influence. I didn't want to really play what everybody else wanted to hear. I wanted to try other things. But my goal, believe it or not, is that I wanted to sell a song. I want to see my name on the back of a CD and turn it over and say, written by Lorin Guy. And I know that sounds kind of shallow and not really very artistic, but that's kind of where it was headed. I mean, I came close a few times, but still working at it.
Well, keep working at it because you definitely have some nuggets to share with with that commercial world. And my goal is a Grammy or an Oscar.
There you go. Shoot high. Shoot
good
high,
high.
and where you land, it'll be okay. But let me tell you something. On my YouTube page, Lorin Guy, singer-songwriter, I have a song I wrote for a good friend of mine. It's called The Legend of Joe Leonard. I don't know if any of you are into motorsports at all, but we're heavily into motorsports. And that song has just cracked 22,000 views. So
great.
On YouTube, so
great, fantastic. Well, thanks so much for sharing, Lorin,
Sure.
and
Fun
see you
stuff.
down the road.
Good seeing you too, Pete. Mm-hmm.
All right, wonderful performance, Lorin. Thank you so much. All right. And we're moving on to, I think, our performer who's coming from us the farthest distance tonight. We've got Dan Dover all the way from Lake Chippewa, Mexico.
Lake Chapala, but who's counting? Hi, my name's Dan. I'm really excited to be here. I've got a couple of songs for you. This first one is a more recent song, but it's a year or two old, but it's one I play a lot when I play out, and it's called It's a Hand. It's a hand, you can hold it. You can wrap your fingers around it. You can leave it just like you found it. It depends on what you need. You need a friend, think you found one. Someone to hang around, someone to watch your heart run like a new colt through the fields. You need time, we can find it. We can take a time hole and mine it. You can look up to the sky and find it raining down on you. You need space all around you, some place to lay your heart down. That space you sought but never found, maybe here you can make it real. Yeah, this could be the fantasy of a humid afternoon. This could be the scene I painted beneath the midday summer moon. Though this could be a dream, it seems to me it should be real. All I need to know would be a kiss to seal the deal. It's a hand, you can hold it. It's a future, you can mold it. It's your heart once you've told it all it needs to know. It's this day, not any other, and this night with your lover, and all the joy to cover all the pain you've ever known. Yeah, this could be the fantasy of a humid afternoon. This could be the scene I painted beneath a midday summer moon. Though this could be a dream, it seems to me it should be real. All I need to know would be a kiss to seal the deal. It's a hand, you can hold it. You can wrap your fingers around it. You can leave it just like you found it. It depends on what you need. You need a friend, think you found one. Someone to hang around, someone to help your heart run like a new colt through the fields. You need a friend, I think you found one. Someone to hang around, someone to make your heart run like a new colt through the fields. Like a new colt through the fields. I always enjoy playing that song. I had another song I was going to play that was really related to that song. That song and the mention of the daytime moon engendered another song, an a cappella song. But my wife is real fond of this one, so she asked me to play it instead. And it's a song I wrote many years ago, and it's one of my best songs for sure. I'm 70 years old, so in 1969 I graduated high school. Other things happened in 1969, I guess we all know. This song is called July 21st, 1969, Oklahoma City. If you don't know what that date is, you'll know pretty soon. Lightning bugs flashing in an Oklahoma sky. Heat lightning on the horizon warns storms are coming by. Tony asks me questions, Becky hums some Beatles tune. Shooting stars go streaking and men walk upon the moon. Men walk upon the moon. Tony's mother calls him home, supper's getting cold. Randy rolls by in his Ford, the moon is turned to gold. Somewhere a TV echoes the calling of the loon. Stray dogs bark in the dark, men walk upon the moon. Men walk upon the moon. That's me in summer 69, hanging with my friends, not knowing who'll get left behind or that the story ends. Dylan on the radio, Randy leaving soon. War and music, sex and drugs, men walking on the moon. Men walking on the moon. Oklahoma summer day, 110 in the shade. Nixon in the White House, now the fat cats have it made. Those high school days are over, big changes coming soon. But stranger things will happen then, men walking on the moon, men walking on the moon. That's me in summer 69, hanging with my friends, not knowing who'll get left behind or that the story ends. Zeppelin on the radio, Randy leaving soon. War and music, sex and drugs, men walking on the moon, men walking on the moon. But that's been more than 40 years, those summer days are gone. Randy never made it back, got lost in Vietnam. And me, I've roamed 10,000 miles just looking for the tune to sing about that summer day men walked upon the moon. And me, I've roamed 10,000 miles just looking for the tune to sing about that summer day men walked upon the moon, men walked upon the moon.
Quite a day etched in memory.
Wow, really?
Dan, those are fabulous songs. That was great, and your voice is just so powerful on them, and just perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I have to ask. I forgot the pronunciation of where you moved to, but where did you start off, and why did you go where you are now?
Well, I'm 70 years old. My wife's about 13 years younger than me. We were looking for a place to retire where she could quit working at the same time I did. We lived in Portland. We had a fantastic life in Portland. 10 years of a house concert series that was really, most people thought was the best in Portland. 10 years of a songwriter circle where we'd have up to 35 songwriters in our basement playing songs and sharing whiskey. But, it came time that I was a registered nurse in intensive care, and I couldn't do that anymore. So it was time for me to retire. Then I happened to come down here to visit a friend who had just moved here. I came in November of 2016. And of course, we all know what happened in November of 2016. We were here the night of the election. We were going to look at houses for fun while we were here, but the next day we called a realtor and just started really seriously looking for a home. And we bought one about 6 months later and spent a couple of years in Portland getting things together, rented our house out, and then moved here. And we're really trying to get involved in the musical scene here, which is really quite active. But COVID came along and put a big dent in that. So we were having a songwriter circle. Now we have a Zoom songwriter circle every Tuesday night. And my email is ddover2@earthlink.net. If anyone wants to join our songwriter circle, just drop me a line and I'll get you on the list.
Oh, that sounds great, Dan. So, what's the best advice you've ever been given?
Leave Oklahoma, I think.
So, but did you live in Oklahoma?
Oh, yeah. I was born and raised there. I was there
Okay.
till I was 33 or so.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Go west, young man. Right?
Go west.
Go west.
And I've gone all around the world now, so it was good advice.
Yeah, that was great, and I love your finger picking style on that song. I couldn't tell if you were just strictly finger picking or if you were hybrid finger picking with a flat pick. But then I saw looked like you were just finger picking, correct?
I do a bit of hybrid. That one was all finger picking, but I don't have a flat pick, but I've got these big plastic nails that I use for strumming. So on it's a hand. There's some first finger strumming on that, and I use that more and more these days.
It was spot on. It sounded fantastic. I know. What kind of reaction do you get from people when they see you hybrid picking?
I can't say. During the last year, I've really came along a lot on that particular aspect of my guitar playing, and I don't I get no chance to play out because of Uncle COVID and his nefarious habits.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I learned that hybrid style from Steve Gillette back in
Steve Gillette.
In 1968. I just followed him around and copied everything he did, and when I perform out, people look at me and go, "How are you doing that? What are you doing? That's wrong. That's just absolutely wrong." Anyway, thank you so much for sharing,
Well,
Dan.
you're welcome. I really appreciate being here.
Yeah, great. And we'll look up your Tuesday show.
Yeah, Dover Left Virtual International Song Circle. I'm sure you can find it on Facebook and places like that.
Great. Thanks so much, Dan. Appreciate you sharing.
Bye-bye.
Yes, thank you, Dan. That was wonderful. All right. And if you thought that was it, you're wrong, because next up is Mick Schafer from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Hello, everybody. Nice set there, Dan. And it was nice hearing from Lorin too. It's talking about trying to figure out what genre might be the most fitting genre, and I just went through a real epiphany with that here recently over the last month. So I've really returned to the blues, and I'm going to be coming back to Portland to finish a blues record that I never got finished. Anyway, this song's only about 5 minutes old, but I think you might enjoy it. Hopefully, it's going to be a little bit of a contrast in timbre to the rest of the beautiful stuff that I've heard so far tonight. Okay, here we go. Daddy's hooked on women. Mama's hooked on gin. Daddy's hooked on women. Yeah, Mama's hooked on gin. I'm over in the corner watching everything. Mama loves the house. Daddy loves his car. Mama loved the house. Yo, Daddy loves that car. I'm over in the corner wishing I could be the star. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, woo. Whoa, 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 whoa. Daddy can't feel. Mama feels too much. Daddy can't feel. Yes, and Mama feel too much. Yeah, I'm over in the corner, too hot to touch. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. Huh. Daddy hooked on women. Mama hooked on gin. Daddy hooked on women. Mama hooked on gin. I'm over in the corner. I'm learning how to sing. Oh yes, I'm over in the corner. I'm watching everything. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Ooh. That's what happened.
Very
Thank you
nice.
guys, thank you.
Hey,
Thanks.
Mick.
Those hits.
Thanks. Yeah, that one's a strong song. I mean, that one just fell out of the air and landed on the table. The whole thing just went kaboom like that. And I started to play it, and I turned on the iPhone, and I just recorded it, and it's pretty close to what just came out of the chute like that. I've got a friend in Portland, and I played it for him, and he changed it a couple of good ways. And then he went to the Blue Diamond in Portland, and he played it for some people, and it really went over really well. So I'm getting ready to go to Portland in about 2.5 weeks to go record that and the rest of this some of these older blues songs that I never finished, and maybe a couple new ones that aren't quite there yet. But we'll see. By the time I get there, maybe they'll get better.
Oh yeah, you'll have that time to do that. Well,
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mick. That was great. Now you're just going to do the one song, is that correct? Or did you want to
Yeah, I mean, I just needed to air that one out, just start to play it, so it's not just sitting in my head.
And that's you said that was 5 minutes old.
It's not too old. It's like, I think when it first hit was about 2.5 weeks ago.
Oh, okay. Well, good. So you were saying you different genres, and you've kind of landed back in blues. So
Yeah.
what genres were you writing in prior to?
Oh man,
finding blues again.
I was writing I got a chance to do an album with Bob Stark in Portland about 2 years ago, and I just took every song that I wanted to do in its own genre, because it was like it had each song was kind of going in the direction of its own genre. So I went in and showed it to him, and he took every one of those songs and maximized the genres on them, and it's a fantastic album, I think, but it's unsellable because it doesn't really have a focus,
Oh well, but
It's
individual songs are selling, so you don't have to have a concept album per se.
Well, thank you for
anymore.
saying that, Peter. I think once I get done with the blues project and go full blast with that, I'll come back around to some of these other songs that I'm in such an intense love affair with, and I'll play them again, maybe in a different context, or bring them out in a way once I know what I'm doing a little better.
Sure, throw it out there. There's so many different avenues, and people are listening all over the world. It's
Man,
amazing.
if you can get a horn section, you know what I mean. You start to do the full-sized band thing with the song that you've written. Oh my God, what kind of an ecstasy could you possibly be with that?
So how do you feel the internet has impacted music delivery? Aside from the we're forced into it from COVID, but what do you think of that?
Well, the internet allows people like us to publish things, right? And sometimes something gets published that's just flat out good, and it just makes its way to where a lot of people get to hear it. And it didn't used to be like that. And I think you can call it a long shot, but there's stuff that's we've seen it again and again where somebody just does something that's just ridiculously good. I'm thinking a little not, what is that little X? What was that guy's name when he's a rapper and he did the crossover country song, right? Remember that song?
Yeah,
it was incredible. I mean, the two genres knocked together, and just had so much power to it. And I like Gangsta Grass too, because they put bluegrass together with rap. I like all these different things and all combinations, but I think I'm really gonna just really lay back deep now in the blues and just see where I can go with it.
Yep, it's amazing. A star is born on TikTok, right?
It's true.
It's amazing.
And the star being born, is great and everything, but everybody here is old enough to know it's your day-to-day life that's really happening, So the process you're in, that's where life is happening, not the 1 minute where everybody thinks you're something.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much, Mick. Thanks for sharing, and I definitely want to hear the rest of your catalog.
Oh, thanks. Well, MickSchafer.com, man. It's all right there.
Okay, thanks so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Peter. Bye.
Take care.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mick. Leaving us wanting more with only one song, but you know what? That's the best way to leave your audience. And next up, we have got the one and only Mike Tatarakis from San Jose, California.
Did I get it unmuted? I think so. Hi, everybody. Mike here. Can you hear me okay? Wave a hand or so. Good. Thank you. Well, as you can see, I can't get the video right because the Open Mic America behind me is inverted, but I guess I'll have to get a mirror for that. Anyway, this first song is a fairly new song for me, and it tells a little bit of that story that we got in the first rendition of Music Coming Out of the Soul. and it's called Spirit of Music. What is life but the spirit of music, holding out a helping hand? It's hard to speak, but something inside you cries out loud to make a stand. Is it a protest or a love song, or you cherish your life? Any reason, rhyme or rhythm, despite the sorrow, pain or strife. Let the music fill your heart, taste the sound upon your tongue. The melody will fill you with warmth, and a song of love forever young. Add a heartbeat and a melody, let your voice burst full and free. Life's a song that's all around you, and the music will be your spirit's key. Let the music fill your heart, taste the sound upon your tongue. The melody will fill you with warmth, and a song of love forever young. Thank you.
Oh, I love it.
So that's, let me pull up this other one. All right. This one's a little bit older. It's interesting because what I didn't say is that partly my lyricist is my daughter, Kelly, because she's a poet. She's been writing poetry since she was about 6 and was published when she was 13. So I get good lyrics from her. And she wrote this song, and it turns out it was written because I changed jobs and I was commuting. So you'll get the commute portion of it. This is called On the Road to San Francisco. Long straight highway, no end in sight. There's a long straight highway, can't hardly see the morning light. But now I'm flying, trying to stay within the line. You don't want me, so I'm leaving you behind. Well, I've gotta get away to a new town, a new day. I gotta get away, 'cause I got no place to stay. Let this hole in my heart heal over from the need to stay. Your plans without me move along, I'll move away. Well, I'm a-drifting on the wind, cut loose and out to sea. Not sure it's what I want, but it's you that set me free. On the road to San Francisco, all alone and on my own, leaving you behind for a place to call home. I make it someday to that place where I belong. I know I'll make it someday. sing this victory song. One day we'll meet again. It'll feel like a long lost friend. But now I'm moving on. It's on me I will depend. While I'm a-drifting on the wind, I cut loose and out to sea. Not sure it's what I want, but it's you that set me free. On the road to San Francisco, all alone and on my own, leaving you behind for a place to call home. Well, the night is cold and dark, rolling down Highway 101. I'm moving towards the future, headed into the setting sun. I'm leaving you behind, now that I am on my own. Leaving you behind for a place to call home. While I'm a-drifting on the wind, cut loose and out to sea. Not sure it's what I want, but it's you that set me free. On the road to San Francisco, all alone, on my own, leaving you behind for a place to call home. Leaving you behind for a place to call home. Leaving you behind for a place called home. Anyway. Yeah. Those down the road blues.
You and your daughter make a really good team.
Nice, Mike. Very, very, very nice. Do you write lyrics also, or just rely on your daughter's creativity?
I have written a few lyrics. Although, let's say my command of the English language is probably about half of hers, so she definitely has a leg up on it. But yes, I have written a few songs entirely on my own.
Oh, cool. And you I know you do play out. Do you play your originals out, or is it?
Yes, I do. Of course, depending on the crowd and what's going on, you select places on the set list to sneak a couple in, or in some cases, depending on the crowd, I might play 2 or 3 and then go back to covers.
Yeah. Do you record at home by any chance, or have you gotten into that yet?
Yeah, well, you might be able to see it behind me. Yes, I record, but it's a really simple, MP3 kind of recording. It was interesting because YouTube, you have to do an MP4. You can't do just an MP3. So I don't record video, so that'll be interesting if I ever want to put anything on YouTube.
Well, simple is good. Being, trying to keep my studio in check. It's simple is much better than what I do. Trust me. So, what's your favorite song to perform?
Cover or original?
You tell me. Your choice.
My favorite song to perform. Well, it depends on my mood, and it also depends on the crowd. But my favorite original is a song I wrote for my wife, entirely on my own, called "Tell Me Why," and we'll be married 40 years in August, and it says "Tell me why you chose me," basically, and that's one of my favorite songs. For covers, I really like Jim Croce in a lot of songs.
Great, and congratulations on the 40 years. That's great,
yep.
great,
killed me yet.
Great milestone. Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks so much, Mike, and thanks for sharing your songs.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for letting me be here. It's a great forum.
Wonderful to have you here, Mike. It was wonderful. Oh boy, man, the quality started off fantastic on this show, and it just stays way up there. And I'm excited to hear the next performer, Gary Furlow from Portland, Oregon.
Good evening. How you all doing from the West Coast, from the Pacific Northwest? We're gonna play a little bit of blues here for you. Man, I've been cheated on and lied to Seems every day I've been alive, rattled to my bones. I know that I've been jived. Well, if I wanna get ahead, gotta leave that girl behind. That screen door slammed behind me, gonna free my troubled mind. Seem to be losing some of my joyfulness, gotta get me out of town. I'm gonna hop on that old streetcar, the motorboards they whine, ride them old tracks down to the end of the line. I know she'll only bring me down, she'll only make me moan. Best company in conversation when I'm all alone. And slip away at the crossroads and get me out of town. Well, now the sun is beating down, my eyes can feel the heat. Shoe leather so worn thin, my toes can feel that gritty street. Some say that love's a fire you never gotta stoke. Man, I say love's a punchline to a never-ending joke. Well, you might think that I'm a dangerous man, some call me a loner, neither beggar man nor thief, just a poor boy on the road now, walking Highway 90 from the chef down to the Pearl, and wade that high tide river, take me out of this world. Purge such thoughts out of my mind and get me out of town. Oh, I'm so weary of this walking, I'm so unmotivated. The blues that I'm feeling, well, they're just so overrated. Go north or east or west, the choice I gotta choose. I gotta stop me going south, 'cause that's the way back to you. Well, now that picket fence is pickled, 8 hinges broken down. That oak tree is a sagging Spanish moss all on the ground. Gonna fix on what's broken, it'll only make me meaner. I certainly could use a drink, but that won't help me either. Just one thing I gotta do is get me out of town. Just keep my boots pointed that way and get me out of town. Thanks. I got one more, if that's all right. I can get this to work. There it goes. Yeah, this is a new song, so hope I can remember it all. Is this another song about trains, or just that lonesome whistle feeling in the night? Gray smoke on the horizon in the moonlight. Or is this another one of those broken-hearted love songs where you hold back the tears, whisper in the night, everything's gonna be alright? It's the deep, deep feeling, deep breaths taken to steady your resolve and stiffen your back. As the candlelight flickers and the quick breaths trigger, staggering search for the words you lack. Is this another one of those songs about wide open spaces, grassland traces, tumbleweed places? The times you wished for an old lover's touch, go cheek to cheek, oh, it meant so much. like cobalt roads running out among the rills, scattered through the dunes and flinty hills. Among the rocks there are and scattered on the paths, and you wondering how long the loan will last. This could be a song about sailing away off the singular sway of the waves in motion, the canvas pushing the ship across the ocean. All this smoke and sail and tumbleweed take up that lonesome feeling and the need of the lost loves in distant times. 'Cause I'm staring up at the shadows on the ceiling, drifting off to sleep, and catching the feeling and the sound of a far-off whistle, as lonely as the desert and empty as the sea.
Beautiful. Oh man, it does feel like all of those feelings, all of those songs.
Very, very nice, Gary. Both songs were a contrast. It was great, but there's no getting away from the blues. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easier to write a sad song than a happy song.
Well, yeah. You gotta live the blues to sing the blues,
It is.
right?
It is for me.
Yeah. So how would you describe the music that you typically create?
Oh, gee. I started with the blues. I mean, I'm from New Orleans, so it's kind of comes with the territory. But I really strive to not repeat myself in any way, shape, or form. I try to be real cognizant of if I'm putting together a set or if I'm, playing something. I don't want two songs, even in the blues genre, that are too similar. And I try not to rewrite the same song over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And, sometimes when you're writing lyrics, that's hard because you always sometimes go for easy rhymes and stuff like that. But it's, that's just something I strive to do.
Yeah.
Just for me.
Well,
I like to write stuff that everyone's different.
It sounds great. The two songs that you presented were very nice. So did you grow up in New Orleans?
Oh yeah, born and raised.
Born and raised in New Orleans, and then and what brought you to Portland?
Oh well, I was in the TV business for many years, and just traveled all over. I worked in D.C., I worked in Chicago, St. Louis, and then you travel around in that business. And I was in New Orleans in 2001, and got a call from an old friend of mine that I used to work with at another television station, who was running a station up here, and asked me to come up and help them out. They had a producer that had quit right before a rating period and asked me to come up and help out, and then they had asked me to stay. So I ended up moving up here. I was freelancing at the time, doing a lot of sports for ESPN and other stuff. Television business, you travel around a lot. It just comes with the territory.
Yeah. So you're a producer.
A director, writer, photographer, whatever. What do you need? I've done them
cool.
all in different places.
Yeah, I've been dabbling in that in a local cable show, and here in Palo Alto, and actually, it did actually win an award for it, so it was good producing it. But it's it's fun. It's fun stuff. I envy that. I wish I would have done that when I was a youngster. Now that I'm retired, it's kind of late to start, but it's fun. So what's
always try to keep learning.
What's next up for you?
Say again?
What is next up for you?
Well, I work a lot with Artichoke Music here in Portland. We're a nonprofit community music center. We have a theater, small theater seats about 70 people. We have a store, we have a school, and we have community outreach we do. And so I work with that a lot. We do a streaming. John Lee, who you'll meet in probably 20 minutes or so. John Lee's one of our hosts who's runs our every other Tuesday night open mic, every other Thursday night, open mic. And then we do streaming shows. We're hooked in with the Cascade Blues Association. Matter of fact, this Wednesday night we have a show, a live stream show from the stage at Artichoke. We do it with just myself and a couple of other people, and maybe 2 or 3 people in the audience now. And we're set up. We've kind of gotten into that over the last year, of course, because we had to shut down. I mean, we hung on, and it's a nonprofit. But as Dan and John and many other people, anybody else who comes through Portland will tell you, it's a quite dynamic place that does a lot for the musician, the folk blues, what have you, and it's a great place to come. And when we get open again, hopefully in the next few weeks or months, great place to come play.
Yeah, that sounds great. I'd love to get up there and see it. It's fun. We had to
see us Artichoke Music, artichokemusic.org online, and we'll have upcoming shows. We've got a whole bunch of shows scheduled for July and August. We hope will actually happen. So we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, we're trying to get out live here in the Bay Area. So anyway, well, thank you so much for sharing, Gary. And I will look forward to seeing.
Thank you for inviting me for tonight.
Okay.
It's been terrific. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Yes, thank you, Gary. I'm sure we're all looking forward to the next time we can get out and see some people perform live in Meat Space. But for now, we're going to keep going with our Zoom concert with Mike Simpson from Saratoga, California.
All right, I'm spotlighted, huh? I don't know. That's a good thing. So when I was a little spitter, I was born and raised, bred and buttered in southeastern Kansas, and in more central Kansas is a town called Weir, Kansas, and there, near the single stoplight and the fire station, was my aunt's tavern, and I spent a lot of time there. Not drinking because, they didn't do that kind of thing. But one of the things I liked to look at in there was over the top of the area behind the bar was KSOK Distributors, Kansas, Oklahoma Beer Distributors. Kansas was a dry state, so it's all 3.2 beer. And then on the top, the part I liked, had this trompe l'oeil sort of light fling, and then it said, "In the land of sky blue waters," and then it had this fake river thing that would flicker there, and I used to sit for quite a while and look at that. Underneath it was a clock, and one hand, the short hand said Bud, and the long hand said Miller, and underneath it said Hams, right? So I'm going to refer to that clock in this song here, called Half Past Sober Again. Well, I've made up my mind. I know it's past time. I know that bottom was no friend of mine. Now I'm making my peace. I'll silence the beat. I'm taking a pass until I'm at least half past sober again. I'm gonna fight every day. I was before you went away, taking a stand, getting back in command, getting help where I can to reach out for a hand, half past sober again. That clock on the wall is selling me beer. I don't want to fall, I can't stand tall sitting here. You said to leave you alone. I won't pick up the phone. You will need to be shown that I really truly have grown. This might be my last chance to get back in the dance. So I'll try to advance in my best self and make plans to be half past sober again. That clock on the wall there is selling me beer. I don't want to fall, I can't stand tall while I'm sitting here. So I've made up my mind. I know it's past time. I know that bottle is no friend of mine. Now I'm making my peace. I'll silence the beast. A pass until I'm at least half past sober. Oh, I'm taking a pass until I'm at last half past sober again. You. Clunk, clunk, clunk. All right. So that one's not autobiographical, fortunately. I didn't have to go much through any of that kind of problem. I got to change my whole get up here and instrument and all like that. This one is for my wife, Pat. And it has one term in it that may need a little defining for those who are more of the landlubberly kind of folks. And that is the notion of a following sea. Now, a following sea is when you've got the waves coming behind you and they're pushing the boat in the direction that you want to go, but not pushing them so terribly hard that it's an advancing sea, which can be dangerous and, a lot of trouble for the sailors. The following sea is the good kind. It's the kind you want. So here we go. Our hull across the waves is laid, wafting a song toward happier days. We have a good ship and a true, me and you. If the morning sky of red is made, we reef the sails and check the stage. Turn to face the cresting blue, me and you. Still holding, still sailing, still watching, or sometimes failing. We hope for help from a following sea. We hope for help from a following sea. Storms will rise and storms will fade. We ride them out to save the day. Together coursing surely through, me and you. Our final course at last surveyed. One leads, one follows through that maze, until the timeless will renew, me and you. Still holding, still sailing, still watching, sometimes bailing. We hope for help from a following sea. Still holding, still sailing, still watching, sometimes bailing. We hope for help from a following sea. We hope for help from a following sea. Oh, we hope for help from a following sea.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
That melody line just making me feel like I'm on the ocean, flowing along. Beautiful.
Oh, thank you, Mike. Those were wonderful, and thank you for the education. Both songs. I learned about Kansas and beer and following seas. That's fantastic. So if you could change, I know you've been involved in the music business for a long time and in different levels. If you could change anything about the music industry, what would it be?
Make it all free.
Make it all free, everything.
Yep.
And how would, and what about the performers? How would they get paid?
They would get paid because money would magically appear and they'd be very rich.
Oh.
If I could change anything. Are you asking for practical suggestions? Practical suggestions. I think we're seeing the beginning of it, as was commented before, in the broadening of the access that internet and other things allow. It's possible to do, an SP, a small collection of 3 songs, something, put it up on the web for less than a couple of $100, plus whatever you paid for your instruments and, your training and all that kind of thing. But I think that the great hopeful thing that I see is this egalitarianism and democratization of the music business, and the connection of our culture to other cultures. I would not have, when I was a young guy, heard famous singers from Pakistan like I did on the radio the other day, and then go back to the internet and pull down, and I've got 100 songs by these. Sadly, the brother was lost, but the sister's still singing, kind of thing. So I think the opening up of music is going to happen. The problem of paying the performers remains. It will always remain. I don't see even, and I use this term very advisedly and with a little bit of a twinkle in my eye, a free market. I don't necessarily see a good means for singers to be paid what their work is worth. So I think it will always be a thing where there'll be some sacrifice in order to choose this as a profession. When I was 18 years old, I got talked to by a very wise person, and they said, think about what you're going to do. And I decided that music was, for me, was not going to be my profession. Now, it has been slightly, to some degree, from time to time, but I'm not a pro. I'm an amateur musician. I have a lot of fun with it, and I'm going to keep it that way. But it's not entirely by choice, I must say.
Yeah, understood. I've been in the same place as you back there in the starting days. Okay, so now some fun. I hope. What's the most useless talent you have, if you have one?
I'm a very good shot.
Pardon?
I'm a very good shot.
And you deem that as a useless talent?
Certainly is to me now.
Okay.
I no longer hunt anything on 4 legs or 2, so it's not something I do, and
Glad you gave up hunting humans, Mike. I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, me too. Specifically, I'm very happy about that. Anyway, well, Mike, thank you so much for sharing, and it's always an education. It's always a joy to hear you play and sing.
Yeah, thank you, Peter, and thank you too to TK and to Laura. All you guys have put this together, Dave and Daphne and everybody. It's a lot of fun, and I'm loving what I'm hearing from everybody else too.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yes, you and me both, Mike. I've been enjoying everyone's performances. It's so wonderful. And I know YouTube land has been enjoying them as well, as all the comments keep flowing in. But we're going to keep on keeping on with Tim J. Myers from Santa Clara, California. It's all you.
Thank you very much, Laura. Mike, I just got to say, I love that set, especially the Following Seas song. If all of you haven't heard, Mike did a version, which I haven't forgotten. God, Mike, it's been years now. Did a version of Townes Van Zant's If I Needed You. That is my favorite version of that song. And there are a lot of versions of that song. And I hadn't seen so much, Mike, of your own songwriting, because it was South Bay folks and it was a lot of covers. But those are beautiful songs. They're just very compelling. So this first song is called Like Coming Home. All those years that I was searching, my half-shadowed heart, not sure that I'd know the truth if I saw it, love. It seemed just a dream. But now you're standing here before me, your arms open wide. All that love song talk of fireworks flaring, now I know how it goes. It's like coming home, the end of a long, long road. Like coming home. solve it all. Life keeps pressing, but any time or place, if I can see your face, I'm home. Time an endless silent ocean, the dark between the stars. But somehow here I am, and right where I should be holding you, made anew. It's like coming home, the end of a long, long road. Like coming home, you take my hand, I understand, felt so alone, but now I'm coming home. Thank you.
Yeah.
This next song is called Everglades. There's kind of a weird grisly competition in the world about what's the worst natural disaster in terms of body count. I mean, it's an ugly thing, but it was amazing to me because a lot of people know the famous ones. So the number one highest body count in America with a natural disaster was the Galveston hurricane in 1900. Really horrible. And second place was the Johnstown flood back in the 1800s. And again, not everybody on the street knows those, but those are pretty famous. Well, I found out recently that there was a third disaster. This third disaster is so bad that they did new research and they moved it up to number 2, but almost nobody has ever heard of it. It's real. It's called a forgotten storm, and it happened in the 1920s in Florida. And I couldn't help but ask myself a question. How can the second worst natural disaster in the history of America not be well known? Now, it's history, so it's complicated. There's more than one reason. But I think the main reason that this isn't very well known is this very ugly thing. So this is Everglades. I feel like this is a protest song that's 100 years too late. 1928, South Florida, they tried to drain the glades. Went at that sawgrass immensity with their dredgers and their spades. But they didn't get how the whole thing worked. Water, grass, and mud took Mother Nature by the throat, so she paid them back in floods. You know, sometimes we act out of ignorance. We can't be blamed. Sometimes we know damn well, but we do it just the same. At Lake Okeechobee, they built their dike on the southern shore. Dried that ground till there were farms where there'd never been before. Poor pickers came for miles to earn paychecks with their backs. Bahamas, Georgia, Alabama, and most all of them were black. Then it came, that hurricane, a monster off the sea. The kind that had savaged Florida down through the centuries. The dike collapsed like Lazarus. The glades would not stay down. And when the garden stopped, they had 3,000 people drown. Yeah, sometimes we act out of ignorance. We can't be blamed. And sometimes we know damn well, but we do it just the same. When a hurricane turns murderous, well, soon it blows away. But the storm of hate and bigotry keeps raging every day. Isn't each life precious? Woman, child, or man? They gathered up the bodies that were strewn across the land. A few were white, got funerals according to the code, but the blacks were dumped in a pauper's pit or burned beside the road. Sometimes we just don't know, we can't be blamed. Sometimes we know damn well, but we do it just the same. If your skin is dark, you're not human. You don't have a name. The folks in charge, they knew damn well, but they did it. Yeah, they did. Just the same.
Yeah, great song.
Fantastic poetry.
Thank you very much.
100 years too late, but then again, it's a lot to think about.
That's actually a good point, and that's kind of encouraging, because when you think about it, understanding history means we change the present, right? I mean, obviously it's 100 years old, but it's incredibly relevant. Good point. Thank you.
Yeah, Tim. That song. Every time I hear it, it just gives me chills. And you're such a phenomenal storyteller in your prose and your lyrics. I'm just dwarfed in your presence. I mean, it's just
okay. First of all, you are not dwarfed in my presence.
well.
Yeah, I appreciate it, though. I do appreciate it.
From a talent standpoint, but maybe not otherwise. But
no. I love your work. I've heard you. I haven't heard you enough, but what I've heard from you, I've loved. Especially, as I said, you have that beautiful, warm voice that I really love.
Well, thank you, Tim. Thank you. Thank you so much. And so why don't you tell everybody you teach at Santa Clara University,
right?
And what do you teach?
Well, it's interesting because I've heard people talking about this whole thing about the music industry and the situation we're in. So I teach mostly what people used to call freshman comp. It's the first year critical thinking and writing course. But they allowed us some years back to theme these. So I'm sure you all understand as a select audience. It took me about 30 seconds, and I was like, oh, my theme is rock, pop, hip hop. So my students are writing and learning how to think critically, but it's all done around some form of music. So my students and I have just had this endless conversation, which I am instigating all the time, about what's going on with the music industry, and there are so many. I mean, like people have said already, Mike, and I can't remember who said it before. I think it was and Mick, but there are these incredible advantages in getting rid of the gatekeepers and, like Mike said, democratizing this whole thing. Like Mike said too, this other side is heartbreaking. And I'm sure most of you have seen some of the figures. I mean, people get 1 million YouTube streams and they make $1,000. I mean, the situation is out of control. And like Mike, I have some very big questions about how this can. And so what I'm always trying to do is indoctrinate my students. It's like, get off the free tier. Just get off the free tier. I mean, Spotify itself, they're like, I won't go into my preaching thing out of this, but there are like 70 million people on the free tier. If they all just joined tomorrow, and of course getting them to do that is a big deal, but oh my God, would there be revenue for musicians? So anyway, so that's the course I teach, to give you a very long typical professor answer to a very simple question. I'm sorry.
It scares me, and I'm fearless, Tim. So another question for you. Who would you most like to collaborate with?
You know, Pete, I have a really weird answer to that question. I don't, partly it's because of the schedule of my life, because I work full time and I create art and other art forms.
Mm-hmm.
So partly it's just a practical thing, but I think because I got so used to not collaborating, I have almost no desire to do it. And that I don't trust that in myself. I mean, I think there'd be wonderful things that would come from it. I don't know if you all have seen It All Begins with a Song, excellent documentary about Nashville songwriters. And everybody's collaborate. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe I'm just a control freak. I'm not a control freak in regular life, but I actually don't have a desire to do that. And someday I hope to explore that. I think that'd be really, really great.
Okay. I do understand that.
Well, that's good, because I feel like an a-hole saying it.
I do understand. I'm a solo performer, but I love playing with other people. But there's sometimes that I just go, no, I think I'll just do this by myself.
Yeah.
But when it comes to writing, I love to collaborate. That's the difference. But anyhow, well, Tim, thank you so much for sharing, and hearing Everglades again was another continuous message that we need to be cognizant of and wake up to. And thank you for writing that, and thank you for sharing it here.
My pleasure. Thanks you guys for doing this again, all of you, and for everybody coming tonight. I can't believe we can do this even under these circumstances. I'm so grateful. Thank you all.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to hear John. Oh, pardon me.
Yeah.
I waited right till you talked, and then I did.
No worries. It's times like these that bring us together with just the love of music and the things that it can teach us and make us think about, and the emotions it brings up. And that's why we've saved our special guest for the evening for our last time slot. Coming up next, we've got John Lee from Ocean Park, Washington. He's a native Northwest craftsman, carpenter, songwriter, and longtime host for numerous Artichoke Music open mic events. And John, go ahead and take it away.
Okay, let's see here. So the Pacific Northwest, where I'm from, and our family's had long roots to, it's a land of really lost abundance. It's kind of, you see it now, it looks great, but we just had these really deep forests of trees that were like just huge, and we had great salmon runs, just huge salmon runs, and the water power that came down where the Great Columbia comes to the Pacific. So I was just thinking that today's Beltane, which is the midway point between the vernal equinox and the summer solstice, but yesterday was, May Day, Workers' World Day. Workers of the world. So I'm going to sing you some songs of, some working songs, because frequently the exploitation of human and natural resources come together for profit, and then they move on and they leave people and places in their wake. Kind of exploited and depleted. So my family and I've had like personal firsthand experience with all three of these professions, and so there's a lot of jargon in a couple of these, but they're just login terms. Well, the deep woods are green, the Nestucca runs clean, where the steelhead lies silver and bright. We work in the woods, and the living is good, when the home lights cut right, the home lights burn bright. Drive our crummy with the crew to the top of the hill, we'll cut trees to the sea, and we know we always will, long as these one log loads come down these muddy roads, and the wigwams burn hot in the night. My father is a faller, he says, set my choker, son, We are a skookum crew, boy, we'll always get her done. His daddy drives the donkey drum, his brother drives the truck. We'll get this unit cut by June with any kind of luck. From that spar pole high on the top of the hill, we see trees to the sea, and we know we always will, long as these one log loads come down these muddy roads and the wigwams burn hot in the night. My cousin pulls the green chain, he'll pull wages all his life for a 4x4, a double wide, 2 boys and a wife. We all stood together when the union shut her down. That fall football fighting and fishing was the only show in town. Float those log rafts down the river to the pond by the mill. We'll send trees to the sea, and we know we always will, long as these one log loads come down these muddy roads and the wigwams burn hot in the night. Now you tell us that the end is near, soon there'll be no cuts to clear. This way of life will always be, as in a fool can plainly see. Long as these one log loads come down these muddy roads and the wigwams burn hot in the night. Well, the deep woods were green, the Nestucca ran clean, where the steelhead lay silver and bright. We worked in the woods and the living was good, when the home lights cut right, the home lights burned bright. Drove our crummy with the crew to the top of the hill. We cut trees to the sea, and we knew we always will, long as those one log loads came down those muddy roads and the wigwams burned hot in the night. No more one log loads come down these muddy roads and the wigwams rust cold in the night. No more one log loads come down these muddy roads and the wigwams rust cold in the night. When the fish came up the river, you could see it from the town, gave a slight sheen of silver to that murky greenish brown. When the fleet moved out, there would be no doubt. When the fleet came in, we'll be working again. We'll be working on the line, we'll be working all the time. Working overtime on that slime line. We'll be working on the line, we'll be working all the time. Working overtime on that slime line. See, my father, my cousins, my uncles, my grandfather all worked in the, they're part of the great Chinese cannery worker culture in Astoria, Oregon, Lower Columbia River. And around 1900, they invented this machine, big industrial machine, some clever fella, that did half the processing of the salmon. So they, in honor of that, productivity, they named that machine the iron chink, which is a word that, you know, would have started a fight. Somebody would have gotten beat up when I was a kid, more often than not me, but I wouldn't have let it go. But I've kind of learned to embrace that word. You know, it's like, there's no iron Irishman or iron Italian. There's just an iron chink, and I like that word. In fact, that's going to be my superhero name. Batman, Superman, and the iron chink. I just got to figure out what my powers are. Well, I need a bowl of rice, hot tea to drink, but we gotta keep feeding this iron chink. I work a double shift from the break of dawn, fall asleep on my bunk with my boots still on. Working on the line, yeah, we're working all the time, working overtime on that slime line. Working on the line, yeah, we're working all the time, working overtime on that slime line. Well, my cousin runs the crew, my daddy works the pier. This is what we do, this is why we're here. The salmon moved on, the cannery shut down, and the family clans all left this town. No more working on the line, no more working all the time. We're working on the time on that slime line. No more working on the line, no more working all the time. No more working overtime on that slime line. When the fish came up the river, you could see it from the town, gave a slight sheen of silver to that murky greenish brown. The fleet moved out, there would be no doubt. Then the fleet came in, we'll be working again. We'll be working on the line, we'll be working all the time, working overtime on that slime line. We'll be working on the line, we'll be working all the time, working overtime on that slime line. Yeah, ye song say. Thank you. You see, I come from this really big Chinese family. I grew up with like 30 aunts and uncles, and more cousins than you could shake a stick at, which sometimes our elders actually did. Now, year by year, one by one, those very elders are fading from our lives. But I still got some old aunties and a couple of uncles hanging on. Now, one of those uncles fascinates me, you see, because he was like one of the ones that spent his younger days back in the 30s and 40s in the village back in the Pearl River district in the South Kwangtung province. And I'd love to know more about that time and place. But I don't get a whole lot out of Uncle. Partly because, you see, it wasn't a great time and place to be alive. And the survivors, they just soon move on as best they can and forget about it. The other thing is, you see, his English isn't too good. And neither is my Cantonese Chinese that I barely learned as a child. So I said, you know, I asked my cousin Howard, I said, hey, Coho, how come your dad doesn't speak English worth crap? And old cousin Howard, old Coho, says, Dad never learned to speak the language because, you see, he didn't bother because he didn't have to. Because, you know, in home we speak the old language to him. I said, yeah, I know. He said, and for 40 years, man, he just worked down in Chinatown as a cook. You know, in those Chinatown backroom kitchens, there's not a whole lot of English being spoken. So what do you say about a man who spends all of his adult life working for his family, but never bothers to learn the language? I say, Uncle, you never learned to talk the talk. But man, you sure could walk that walk. In a distant village on a distant shore, a time of hunger and a time of war, mother's other brother got left behind. Somehow he made it across the line. He found his way to the USA, across the sea to family. He lived with us and found a wife. They found work and a brand new life. A little man in a little world, his work, wife, his boy, his girl. He never learned to talk the talk, he just walked the walk. Yeah, Uncle just worked that walk. Now 40 years of stir-fry toil, the swirling smoke, the splattering oil, year after year, shift after shift, nights of making that same old dish. Work was over, Pal Hanna came, and he'd step out in the Portland rain. 40 blocks he'd walk back home, it was his only time alone. A little man in a little world, his work, his wife, his boy, his girl. He never learned to talk the talk, he just walked the walk. Yeah, Uncle just worked that walk. He's a little man in a little world, his work, wife, his boy, his girl. He never learned to talk the talk, he just walked the walk. Yeah, Uncle just worked that walk. Well, the years rolled by and that boy and girl found their own way, their own world. They come back home each New Year's Day to watch their father fade away to that distant village, that distant shore, that time of hunger, that time of war. The last survivors are growing old with family stories left untold. A little man in a little world, his work, wife, his boy, his girl. He never learned to talk the talk, he just walked the walk. Yeah, Uncle just worked that walk. He's a little man in a little world, his work, wife, his boy, his girl. He never learned to talk the talk, he just walked the walk. Yeah, Uncle just worked that walk. The Mayday songs, work songs.
John, incredible. This has been a night of a very important, from my perspective anyway, messaging of history that we should, lest we forget. We should never forget this. Forget what you're singing about here, and that's kind of how folk music is, right, John? What do you? Yeah. You know, it when the history books aren't living up to what our memories are, the folk music lives on.
That's a beautiful point, Pete.
You know, so John, in you're a carpenter craftsman and a musician craftsman. How do those feed off each other, and how do they compare?
Well, it's interesting because I actually have three occupations that I've pursued all my adult life. One's music, one's carpentry, and the other's as an educator. And they seemingly unrelated, but they're all just have to do with connection and putting things together. And when you talked about collaborators a while ago, you know, but I kept thinking about, boy, I'd like to frame a house with John Clark again. That's a collaboration I'd like to do. Mm-hmm. I really like teaching. I got a friend here. I'm at his house right now, and I'd like to have been a teacher with him, or I'd like to go up ski that line with this other guy. So they kind of feed off each other, you know, and I kind of build it as a carpenter songwriter as opposed to a singer songwriter, which always seems kind of redundant to me. And I think Dan knows who I'm talking about here, but I got a friend who's a farrier and a great songwriter, musician. And I always found it's more interesting that Dan Cecil is a farrier songwriter than a singer-songwriter. And like the same voice that he can tame that 2,000-pound horse and calm that horse down, that could kick him in the head, he can calm that voice down with that same one that he sings with. Or those same hands that at the end of the day he's got to, you know, I've done some forgery work and that's really hard, you know, and Dan makes those horseshoes and he puts them on, and then he picks up the guitar and sings with those hands and that voice. So I find that more interesting. So that's why I kind of like the carpenter songwriter thing, although it is kind of incompatible with fingers. You know, the first job I was going to mention, the first song was about logging, and I actually lasted about 6 weeks in that business, and I was like 18 years old, and it was really exhausting, hard work. And one of the things I noticed was that a lot of the guys that I was working with that had been working for a long time couldn't hear real well from the chainsaws and the donkey drums and the diesel rigs, or a high percentage of them were missing parts of a finger. And I just said, that's really not a good occupational choice for a guy that wants to play music and, you know, at some level. So I kind of got out of the hearing impaired finger. I got all my fingers. I can't hear very well, but I got all my fingers still. So that is something I'm always thinking about when I'm working in the shop or working in a job. It's like, keep those fingers.
keep safe. So you decided early in life that you wanted to pursue a musical instrument, a guitar per se.
Well, I actually, you know, I started playing like trumpet in the band in the fourth grade. So I did that whole school. I was like school band geek for like years. I did trumpet, trombone, baritone, horn, and then I started playing drums and things. And the Beatles changed everything, you know. It's just like I had a little 4-piece drum kit, and I just started playing garage bands, and you know, I just kind of we all played the same 20 songs, so you know. Right.
Well, any musical instrument, it's best that you have all your digits. So that's
and then, you know, guitar was kind of logical. Guitar is easy to carry around. I wanted to be Jack Kerouac and Woody Guthrie when I was in college. So.
Well, good. That the songs are excellent and very well crafted. Is there any specific mood that inspires you to write or be more prolific in writing, or have you noticed?
When I make a connection, you know, when I realize I can connect 2 or 3 different thoughts, 2 different truths, 2 different realizations, or sometimes just, you know, like a phrase. You know, I mean, I got a song called "One Bad Apple," and it's about cross-pollination, bad boys, good girls in an apple orchard. But I got the idea just watching. I was watching CNN or some news thing, and they had a whole bunch of, you know, wingnuts talking about on them one bad apple. There's just one bad apple. One guy kept talking about bad apples, and I thought, that's a good name for either a band or a song or something like that. So I just kind of like that name. So just kind of whatever something inspires you, and you kind of carry it around your head, and sometimes you write stuff down. And I'm writing a lot of fiction right now too, and so just trying to. Some of these ideas have been stewing in my brain for years, and and you realize, oh, I can make that character that part of that family. That that connects like that. So I like those connections.
Well, I look forward to hearing more from you. Do you have any? What defines your success?
Okay. What I'm going to tell you at first, when I tell you, is people are gonna go like, "Whoa, that guy is a total egomaniac." But what I tell people about songwriting and writing and building and anything I've ever done is there is nobody out there who can write songs better than I can. And I say that not because, see how the language was. Nobody can write it better than I can. Because when I get done with a song that I'm happy with, I'm totally happy with that song. I get total closure on that. I don't ever have to write another song about clear-cut logging, or my family working on the canneries, or my uncles working in the Chinese restaurants. I've got complete, total closure with that. I like the way the music worked together with the words. I like to integrate them. And when I got done with that, I felt 100% satisfied with what I had done. And other people can do that too. But you can't get more satisfied with a song than I am when I'm done with a product that I'm ready. And the thing about songs, it integrates music and integrates words. It's 3 minutes, like people say, 3 chords and the truth. And you can record it. People can take it home. They can put it out there. They can listen to it. You can perform it for people as many times as you want. Like Joni Mitchell said, like no one kept asking, hey, paint a starry night again, man. It just, you don't get asked to paint the same painting over again, but you can play the same song. I know Dan's heard some of these songs, and Mick's heard some of these songs. I know William Cape with Dave's heard some of these songs. And that's what you want, I think, is to get the song. When you're done, you just feel as good about it as you possibly can. And when I'm done, no one could feel better about a song than I get done when I get done with some of my songs. And I know that they connect with people. And I love that feeling of looking out in the audience, and it's 2 people or 5 people or 100 people or 200 people. And, and they're there, I play this thing called Fisher Poets I got these other little niches, these weird little niches. I play this thing in my hometown Astoria called Fisher Poets every year. And, one of my friends complimented me, said, you got 15 minutes and all these people here want to, a few songwriters want you to sing along and teach you the chorus. He said, but nobody wants to do that, He said, but you walk up there and in 3 minutes, everybody's singing your song with you. You got 300 people in the bar singing your song. He said, I don't know how you do it. I just like to try to connect with the people, and that's totally, totally satisfying to me. You get 300 people singing Slimeline, and it's just whatever works for it. But that's the satisfaction I get out of it, and that's what I strive for.
That's your success. Well, that it makes total sense, John. It does. So speaking of live, are you ready to meet the public again?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I am. It's kind of a weird thing. The last album I made was I recorded it in about 4 hours, but it's called Chinaman's Chants, and it's 12 songs about the history of the Chinese from the railroads in 1860s until my mother graduated from Portland State and became a teacher in the 1960s, and it's a solo performance piece, and I played it in its entirety for this film fest in Eugene called the Disorient Film Festival, and which means Discover Oriental Film. But and then that was March 13th, and we know what happened the next day. It was
right.
And then everything kind of shut down after that. So this little tour, and I had maybe all this context, I had it all set up for it. But part of me just goes, oh God, man, I don't want to go through all that calling and emailing and setting up dates and looking at this. And, so I want someone to do that for me. But, and I wanted to go down and do a bunch of videos. So like in some of the, like I want to record videos on, one song's about Angel Island, one song set in Chinatown, one song set in various sites around California where the Chinese people were driven out. There's a song I want to record up in the Summit Tunnel. If you've ever seen that place, just get on images and Google Donner Summit Tunnel. And it's like an 860-foot tunnel that they dug through solid rock, flat enough to put a train through. And, and the people blew up. It's also, I might tell you, is the setting for the opening scene of my novel. Yeah, I was trying to do that. I was looking forward to that, but now I'm kind of like, I don't know if I want to get out and do all that booking again. So we'll just wait to see.
We'll get out there again, and once the floodgates open, I think we'll be all excited about doing that, John. I feel the same hesitation, but I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to it again. Yeah. I think we'll wrap this up with you kind of summarizing anything else you want to say about Artichoke Music. You'd like to tell us any more?
Well, said it really well. We're just this community music center that it's had 2 or 3 locations in Portland, and it's a great music venue, small venue, smaller than we used to be, but it's got a great sound. Gary does great sound. He set it up. We got a nice little store that has all kinds of, like people bring stuff and consign. Sometimes you have a sitar next to a pedal steel.
Wow.
We got great music lessons. I mean, I guess the thing I would tell you is what I tell everybody tonight when I do the open mic is that we have an older crowd. And there's people who come in there, they think they've always wanted to play an instrument they didn't think they could. And you know these people. And they kind of come in kind of timidly into the store, and one of our people helps them find the right instrument, ukulele, guitar, whatever. Those are 2 real popular ones for obvious reasons. Then they take lessons, a group lesson in ukulele or guitar. Then they get connected with one of our teachers and they start getting private lessons and get better at it. Then they take our songwriting classes and they start writing a song, and then they'll come to our open mic like 2 or 3, 4 times, kind of like without their instrument, looking at it, watching what's going on. And then eventually they'll put the name in a piece of paper, So to go from walking in the store, not sure if you can do that, to buying an instrument, playing an instrument, learning to write a song, and stepping up into our performance venue on an open mic, that's a huge step. I guess that's what we're all about more than anything else like that. It's that chain of getting people to believe and tap into what we all know happens. We've been doing this all along, and we know, and like, John and Mick and Dan and Tim and Laura, everybody just, we just know how to do that now. We know how important it is, but there's other people who've never done that. And that's, to me, when we get someone up there that's been there a couple of times and I know their journey a little bit, we all give them like, let's give, this first time, and they're, they're scared they're going to mess up. I said, it's okay to mess up. I said, we kind of like it when you mess up because we all mess up too. And it's a real friendly crowd. This isn't Carnegie Hall. This is Artichoke Music open mic. So get up and give it your shot. And when they do that, it's great, So that's what we're all about, I'd say.
Perfect. Well, John, thank you so much for being here tonight, and everyone else that's been here. The rest of you, I want to thank you all. And TK, thank you for your expert engineering. I'm going to turn it back to Laura to close things out. And thank you all so much for being here and sharing your incredible talent.
Yes, and I wanted to give a big shout out to all our performers tonight. You were all incredible. John, Tim, Mike, Gary, the other Mike, Mick, Dan, Lorin, John, Sherman, all of you were it was such a treat to hear all of your music and be able to to share this evening with you. And to our audience out there in YouTube land, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed all of our performers. If you want to know more about them, we do have links to their websites or their YouTube pages linked on the openmicamerica.com. We also have under our local open mics tab on that website links to some of the open mics that other performers have been a part of, including the wonderful artichokemusic.org, which you can also go to and see if it's something that you'd be interested in. We're really hoping that we can keep this show going and keeping that open mic spirit alive even through these socially distant times. And we'll do that again in another 2 weeks. Our next performance is going to be May 16th. Again, same time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Stay tuned for the full lineup, which will be posted on our website, which is, again, openmicamerica.com. And we hope to see you all then next week. And we'll all wave goodbye as the live stream ends. Goodbye, YouTube. Thank you for watching.
All right.